Hey, what's going on everyone, and welcome back to another Disney Lorcana card of the day. I'm Steggy, and in today's card of the day, we're actually going to be talking about one of the Aurora cards. We're going to be talking about Aurora Briar Rose. Now, this is an Aurora that was recently shown. I think it was at Gamma. I think this is when this Aurora was shown. So she's a bit more recent, so a lot of people might not know that she's actually a card. What does she do, So for one, stat-wise, this Aurora is a 4-cost Sapphire card. She is inkable, which again means you can place her into your inkwell. She has 2 strength, 5 willpower, and she has 1 lore. She has a pretty nifty ability. It's called Disarming Beauty, and it reads, when you play this character, chosen character gets -2 strength this turn. And we've seen several cards that have this effect, Scar being the first one. But now we've also seen Control Your Anger in Amber. We have Aurora, of course. And we have Maximus, who also has the same effect, where when he's played, he -2s in a character's strength. Now, I mean, typically you're probably going to want to target your opponent's characters. I'm not sure why you'd want to target your own characters, but there could be a reason why you want to do that in the future. I don't know. But like as of right now, like how do I feel about this card? Like how's it do? Well, we do have a really good Aurora that costs only 1 more resource, and she's the one that gives all of your other characters ward. That's pretty good. So you could shift onto this Aurora, a Briar Rose, by placing your other Aurora, the Dreaming Guardian one, on top of her. But you're probably not going to want to do that because of the cost issue. It's probably better to just play the other Aurora, Dreaming Guardian, side by side, which you can do. You don't have to shift because their costs are so similar and you're not really getting a discount. You still would have to pay 3 resources to shift the Dreaming Guardian Aurora on top of the Briar Rose Aurora. And for that, you might as well just spend 1 more resource and just have 2 Auroras in play. Now, this card though, this Aurora, is actually deceptively good. For one, she is inkable, so just being able to be placed into your inkwell is a huge bonus. So at any point in the game, she's useful. You can always use her as a resource if you can't play her. Now, when you do play her, obviously she's meant more for key challenges. Like if your opponent has sent out a quest, maybe your opponent has, challenged one of your characters, and now one of their big threats is open. You can play this Aurora and then challenge one of your opponent's characters with another of your characters and take very little, if any, damage, in return. It can help you survive trades as well. You can trade into something that maybe has 3 or 4 strength, and by effectively reducing it by half, whatever character you challenge with is probably going to survive. If you're able to banish your opponent's character, well then now your character will still be on the field, which would mean your opponent is going to have to devote more resources in order to remove them. And that could be either through action cards or by having to challenge with any other characters they have, which could possibly banish even more characters, or at least put some good damage on them so you can finish them off with your other characters. She is in a weird spot though, because we do have a third Aurora who only costs 2 resources, and this Aurora costs 4 resources, so she's twice as much. And when I say she's in a weird spot, it's a weird spot for shifting. If your goal is to shift into the other Aurora, it's far better to do it on the more generic Aurora, the one that only costs 2 resources, because on your 3rd turn, if you play your 3rd resource, you can shift Aurora for only 3 resources. If you put the Dreaming Guardian one on top of the plain vanilla one, I suppose, the simple 2/2. That Aurora is called the Regal Princess one, who's pretty good. Basically has 2 on all stats, so including lore. Now this Aurora, the one we're talking about though, the Briar Rose, is definitely more of a card that's good like on her own. I do wish she had like 1 more lore, but I think if she had 1 more lore, she definitely would be really good. She only quests for 1 lore, but with her 5 willpower, she's gonna be able to get you a few lore by herself. Her 2 strength isn't terrible, but it's one of those, if your opponent wants to remove her, they're going to have to send a couple of their characters into her, and their characters are going to take some damage in return. They're not going to get off, you know, scot-free. There's going to be some residual damage there. I do think she's like kind of like a techie card where you don't want to necessarily play her all the time, but when you do play her and you're able to get her effect off, that's pretty good. Getting key trades can really help you maintain the board. So I think she's like the only Aurora, I'd say only when there's only 2 Auroras, but she's definitely an Aurora not meant to be shifted. I think you could play her on your 4th turn, and then on your 5th turn, just go ahead and play Dreaming Guardian Aurora right next to her, and that might be pretty good. You can give her ward. And she's also good at any stage of the game. If you have some characters on board, it can really help your tempo. If you play her and then you're able to challenge with some of your characters that you've already played, keep your characters in play, take out some of your opponent's characters that maybe have been questing or gathering lore, or challenging, I guess. Questing is gathering lore, but you know what I mean. You're able to take them out and maintain some board presence and you know, kind of take control of the game that way, because you're really close to playing Dreaming Guardian Aurora, which would protect your other characters, which means your opponents are going to have to challenge, or they're going to have to deal with your Dreaming Guardian Aurora. So overall, though, like, you know, how do I feel about this Aurora? Well, she definitely surprised me. She's definitely better than I thought she was going to be. Being able to come down and reduce an opponent's strength so you can get some key challenges in is actually really, really good, because it allows your characters to survive and then be able to either challenge or quest on future turns. Overall, like a ranking wise, like what would I give her out of 10, like all my other cards? I think she sits around a good 7 out of 10. She's not bad, for sure. She's definitely not a bad card. She can come down and definitely has an impact on the board as soon as she comes down. It does feel bad if you don't get her effect off, like you're not able to use it properly. You can basically always get her effect off, but if you're not challenging, then it does feel bad. But she can stick on the board with her 5 willpower. So she's able to quest for you, or maybe, you know, do just a little bit of damage to finish something off. So definitely not a bad card to have at any point of the game, because again, she can always be used as ink, and you can always just put her down into your inkwell to get some more resources. So I'm going to give Aurora Briar Rose a 7 out of 10. I should also mention, and I totally forgot to do this, she's actually a common. She's going to be pretty easy to obtain. And I think for a common, she's pretty strong. I think she's a very good card for common. And I think she's going to help you set up key trades and definitely help Sapphire, you know, maintain some board presence and to keep their characters in play longer. I do really like that. So we're going to give Aurora Briar Rose a 7 out of 10. Oh, she's also a princess. And that's important because she can be used in a Sapphire, say, Amber deck with Moana. And she's able to quest, and then if you quest with Moana, Moana will ready this Aurora, and now this Aurora can either remain unexerted or go on a challenge, or, you know, issue a challenge or something. So there's something there as well. So again, 7 out of 10, not a bad card. I was actually pleasantly surprised. I wouldn't shift on top of her though, because that's just going to be a waste of resources. If you do have Shift Aurora, I would definitely just play the Shifted Aurora next to this Aurora. That's what I would do. So, but hey, thanks for watching. It means a lot. Again, I like talking about these cards. It's fun, just fun to get my thoughts out there. All right, thanks for watching again. Stay safe out there, make good decisions, and I will see you in the next one. Okay, bye.